Welcome back to One Handshake. I'm your host, Jillian Vorse, and I am very happy and excited because today's guest is someone you may already know who is loved behind the scenes. She is not only a core member of the One Handshake community, she's also the heartbeat behind this podcast, managing our production with care and creativity. Originally from the Seychelles Islands and now living in the Netherlands with her husband, three kids, and their fur baby, Ineke brings an island warmth and global perspective to everything she does. With a background that spans from running a magazine to producing hundreds of podcast episodes, she now helps impact driven founders and brands launch and grow their podcasts through smart systems, repurposed content, and thoughtful strategy. Relentlessly optimistic, fiercely loyal, and deeply passionate about her work, Ineke believes in the power of storytelling to connect people and bring meaningful ideas to life. Today, we're turning the mic around and shining the spotlight on her. So let's welcome Ineke Bakker Camille. Welcome.
Thank you, Jillian. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I think I'm happier. I'm so excited to be able to do this. And yeah, what's it feel like already to be in the hot seat?
It is awkward. I very much enjoy being in the back and amplifying the voices of the incredible people that I work with. And the background is my happy place. So,
Hmm.
but
Well,
I'm happy to
today
be here.
today you're sharing your happy place with me because I get to sit here and be able to shine a light on you and hear your amazing story and your amazing voice and be able to share that. So
Thank
this is
you. I
like
appreciate that.
a special treat. Yeah. Um, all right. So let's start off with yeah, it feels appropriate to start off with our handshake story. With our handshake story, because I have a little trivia for you.
All right.
Do you happen to know when that was?
Um, Actually, I don't. I've always been curious, but we've never had that conversation.
Yes.
But it feels like you found me on LinkedIn and you reached out and I had this offer. It was a beta that I still haven't put out into the world and I will. But yeah, you reached out to me on LinkedIn and yeah, I'm
Okay.
curious to know your side.
Well, do you want my side or do you want the truth?
I want the truth.
Okay. All right. Well, amazingly, it was a year ago tomorrow.
The fact that you remember this, wow.
I don't. I
Okay.
don't. There was a time in my life when I would have remembered that, but these days I have to cheat by looking back at the notes and whatnot.
I am with you. You're all good.
I did. I scrolled back into LinkedIn because I also have wondered, and like you said, we haven't had this conversation. We've talked about it, around it a little bit, but
Mhm.
haven't actually looked back to see. So today, I thought, you know what? Let me double check. And it's April 19th,
Okay.
2024 is the day that you sent me a LinkedIn request.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Yes. So we connected on LinkedIn. And I also remember that we did. And I think we found each other through shared connections. I'm
Yes.
pretty sure through somebody else's post or something like that. But what so
Petra is coming to my mind.
correct. And so this is part of why I thought, what a better way to start than our handshake story, because it also helps to kind of showcase what a handshake and the ripple effect of one handshake can do and the opportunities that it can lead to. So I thought, yeah. So if you want to share a little bit about Petra Fisher was our guest on episode 12. So yeah, if you want to chat a little bit about for people who maybe haven't heard episode 12 yet or know who Petra is, to kind of connect that dots from Petra to you and I being here today.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Petra is my guru, I suppose, for all things LinkedIn, and I had done a fantastic workshop with her, and I've also just been following her for years, and just Petra gave me rather gives us the permission to be authentic and to show up as ourselves even on LinkedIn. And one of the tips I learned with her was when we reach out to people on LinkedIn, it was also just to send a little personal message. And I think that's what it was. Just putting yourself out there and saying, hey, and yeah, that was the crux of it. And I
Mm,
believe that, yeah, I would have maybe seen you commenting on someone's post, maybe it was even theirs, and just reaching out and then seeing where that goes, And
Sure.
obviously it was a gold mine because I'm here today.
Well, I think it's interesting because I think what she talks about with showing up authentically online, this is, I would say, the reason that you stood out to me and the reason that we connected is like the way we show up authentically in LinkedIn in this case resonated with each other,
Yeah.
which led to us having a conversation
Yeah.
and
Sure.
kind of kicking things off. And so that made me think of our original plan for the podcast. Do you remember?
You had originally joined with the beta where I think I was gonna help you figure out how to do it. And no, is that not what I'm
No, I'm curious if because it's one of those things where so often we don't circle back and have conversations with people to see how did you experience something or how did I experience and what do you remember of it versus what I remember from it. So I feel like this is one of those like the messy part of being human and like looking in the rearview mirror. So I'm
Yeah.
just interested in what you remember about it because of like we started at point A and we ended up at point B or something like that. So I'm interested in what you remember about that, and then I'll share what I remember about that.
Okay, I'm really curious about again what you're gonna say, but when you signed up for my offer, it was originally a 4-hour program, where we were gonna go intense on what it was, what it is, and what it takes to create a podcast, and discussing your workflow, your why, and the really the crux of why you were creating this podcast. And I think halfway in, you said, "Stop. I wanna work with you." I remember, like, you didn't wanna finish. You didn't actually finish the whole session, and you said, "Let's pause on this, come and work with us, and let's create, One Handshake together." And then this fabulous platform was born.
Yeah, the rest is history. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
So
so
do
do
you
you
remember now?
yeah, yeah. So do you remember originally I was going to do a podcast about B Corps?
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, right? Yeah. This is how we started. And so yeah, it's really something because you were literally right there, like beside me,
That's true.
walking along from kind of where I originally was fully focused was on B Corps. And then
But that
somehow,
turned so quickly.
yeah, yeah. So I was curious if you remember that. And I guess
Not even. It is off my yeah.
look at that. So it's one handshake all the
Remember.
way. Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, the reason I'm interested in this and the reason I want you to talk about this is because I think it also helps to showcase who you are as a person and as a podcast manager. So I'm not trying to create pressure for you, but I'm interested in and if you don't recall enough, then that's okay. We can just skip ahead to my next question. But I'm interested in what you remember about kind of starting off in our conversation about what's the podcast going to be with respect to B Corps, and then how it shifted for you or what you felt or observed
Yeah,
when we then began to talk about One Handshake.
yeah. I think I think the reason I don't remember the B Corp conversation was because you lacked passion, you lacked excitement, and it now that I'm thinking back, it was so like you were doing this because you thought strategically it was the right thing to do, but your heart wasn't in it. And I remember that now I remember like
Mm,
why?
mm,
And
mm,
it was you were enthusiastic. No, you were interested, you were keen, but there was a lack of passion.
mhm,
And then I remember telling you when you started talking about One Handshake, building the platform and creating the podcast, I remember telling you that you lit up. Like
mm,
this we didn't have all the pieces, but this was the thing to follow because you had your why. Your why was resounding. Like you didn't have all the other pieces figured out yet, but you lit up. You lit up when you were talking about this, and that is that is why you create a podcast because you're clear on that message, and the other pieces still needed to come, but you were resounded on what that message was, and it was a
mm,
beautiful thing. Yeah.
mm. See, I was right. You showcase how you work because it would have been so easy for you to just go full throttle and like, yep, just kind of act as if and let's build the B Corp thing. But because you continued to ask questions of me and then kind of hold that space for me to kind of dare to look beyond what I was thinking cerebrally, right? So you kind of created that space. And because of that, you are like the linchpin. You and then Katiza came along shortly after, really were, yeah, massive catalysts for me to make me feel comfortable and that it was okay to leave this thing that was so tight and organized and strategic and that I believed in, but wasn't, like you said, it wasn't from the inner parts of me that really I wanted it to be. It wasn't complete. It was like lacking,
In your heart.
salt. Yeah, I was lacking some heart for sure. And so it's hard for me to even find the words, believe it or not, is somebody with too many words all the time. Yeah, too many words, too many thoughts. But seriously, it's hard for me to find the words even to articulate how grateful I am that you were there and you were willing to kind of allow this to unfold with me and that you have played such a major part in that, and I am so grateful. I appreciate you so much. So for me, it's well beyond being a podcast manager. Like you were like quite literally like the kind of co-architect, co-creator of what we're building with One Handshake. So I will be forever grateful for you. So I just want you to know that.
Thank you so much. You're gonna make me cry. Thank you.
It's really true. It's really true because that was a major pivot for me on top of another major pivot on top of another. It's like, yeah, a whole
It
flow
was
of
a
those.
tidal wave coming.
It sure was. It sure was. So thank you for being the branch for me to kind of grab onto.
It was a pleasure to do it, and I've loved it.
Yeah.
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 Loved the
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's emotional for me too. So, woof, take a breath. Okay, here we go. Um, So, podcasting, what first drew you to podcasting?
Oh,
How
I
did you, because I'm going to assume that you didn't, study this at university or something like this,
Yep,
right?
interest, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I touched on media, but no. Prior to moving here in 2016, honestly, I didn't even know podcasting was a thing. It was completely foreign to me. But I had just arrived, new to a country, two young kids, pregnant, and I felt very, very alone. I had left this whole incredible community and family, and I was here alone. Well, with my husband, but we were alone.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was desperate for community. My focus was establishing the boys into their routine, but I knew how important community was and how important those relationships were going to be. But I hadn't found my people yet. So in the meantime, I saw a post in this expat group. It's called Two Fat Expats, and I found out that they had a podcast. And I started listening, and I started binging, and it just gave me such a sense of you're not alone. Like there are people who know what you're going through. There are people with different stories, but who are the same.
Mhm.
And it just made me feel less alone and just gave me, even if the stories were different, that sense of loss with excitement was
Mm.
was a thread. And it was okay to grieve what we had lost, but to be excited about the future. It was
Mm.
okay to love this new home, but then feel frustrated at the things that weren't falling into place.
Yeah.
And so back then, in those early days, I just felt that podcasts had such a human connection and could give us a human connection even while we were walking the dog or taking the baby for a walk, doing laundry. It's just that connection that you can have with someone on such a deep level. And it's like having a conversation with someone who is on the other side of the sofa, whether it's advice, whether it's a prep talk, um, business advice or whatever. It's just, I feel like it's such an intimate connection. And so I love the medium. But it wasn't until years later that I went into it as
Mm.
a podcast manager. I am first and foremost a podcast listener, and I love the medium.
Mm. Hmm. And so do you remember, was there a reason why you decided, like, something that happened or yeah, I'm sure there was, but do you remember what moment it was that you decided, "I think I'm gonna actually make this my thing. I think I'm gonna start to do this," and kinda own it or step into it?
Right, yeah, for sure. It was about 5 years ago, and it really annoys me that I can't remember who said this to me. But I was a virtual assistant, but I was always, "You have to listen to this podcast. You have to listen to that podcast. Here's another podcast." And I was forever sharing podcasts with people, even, on social media, but also in my personal life. And someone, and I'm so sorry if it's you, thank you so much, um, said, like, you're a great project manager. You ran magazine for years. You're a good VA, but you're always talking about podcasts. Why don't you think about this as a medium?" And
Mm,
it just felt obvious, but I was really intimidated by the editing thing because I just
mhm.
thought that you have to have this background and knowledge of the the technical stuff. Um, but I gave it a go, and would you believe it? The editing part is the bit that I love the most. So
Ah,
I
funny.
very often find myself listening to the message rather than editing. But that's why it's
Mm,
so important to really work with the people that you love and whose
mm,
message resonates, because you're spending hours upon hours a week listening to this content, so you've gotta love it.
mm.
Uh,
So 2 questions then. I had 1 question, but I'm gonna pause that one for a moment because of what you just said. Um, so I'm curious, what in all the experience that you have with podcasts over the years, both from a kind of consumption listening standpoint and then also producing and managing them, I'm curious, what you think about the One Handshake podcast. What's, the same that you've seen with others, or what's different, or what do you like about it, or what do you not like about it? But I'm curious what your, kind of personal and also professional perspective of our One Handshake podcast is.
Yeah. I guess in some ways that's an easy answer. The one thread that goes through is obviously the passion that the people you have on, the passion that they have for the importance of relationships and the importance of building relationships and nurturing relationships and coming from it from an authentic point. Um, the world around us, the online space, it's very salesy, it's very icky, and it's very what's in it for me.
Mm,
And you have built this community that is relationships first, people first, and
we
sorry?
we have
We we
continue. We have built go ahead.
and it's such a beautiful thing because the world is so me focused, and
Mm,
I for years now, I've been having coffee chats with people who are just starting on their podcast or curious about the virtual world and want to be, curious about becoming a VA or whatever. And people have often asked me, like, "Why are you doing it?
mm,
Like, why are you wasting time? They clearly can't afford you or whatever."
mm,
And it's like, "Well, why would you not?
mhm,
Like,
mhm,
so what you have created really, really resonates with how I want to live my life. And I think it's such a beautiful thing that you were able to collect people who come and share that same message with different directions of life, but the
mhm,
the, the value is the value is that common thread and the passion in which they talk about it. Like,
mm.
it's just such a beautiful thing. And the fireside is something that I've never experienced before.
Yeah,
And it's a lot of fun.
yeah, I hadn't either, I'd never seen it, it just felt like something that we should try
Yeah.
and experiment with, but so far, I think we've done,
Or yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know, like 8 or 9 of them or something 8 at this point or something, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, so thank you for being willing also to test something totally new. It's been great. So
Yes.
the question I appreciate everything you said, like, um, yeah, it's, like, super validating for me, as you know, to have shared an idea of something that's not super tidy, certainly not as clear and tidy as the B Corp podcast was going to be. Yeah, but for you to validate it is, yeah, it means yeah,
Well,
a lot.
I think I speak for many of us in the community, and it's just nice to have this safe space to come to and just show up and
Mm.
not always be, like thinking about strategically. You can think about relationships strategically for sure, but
Yes.
you can also give with just from generosity without always
Yes.
thinking about what's in it for me.
Exactly. Yeah. Or the immediate gratification or get
Yes.
something instant, you know?
Okay.
So, what I think is interesting also, and something else I really want to highlight because it's often underestimated or just overlooked altogether, is what you've already talked about. So, first, what was done for you, right? So, somebody kind of pointed out something that was kind of very obvious in front of you, but you weren't seeing or weren't ready
Yeah.
to see,
Yeah.
right? But somebody was there as that catalyst, that kinda handshake moment for you that
100%.
then changed the trajectory of your career.
Yeah.
Then fast forward, you did the same thing for me,
Oh,
right? But being there to help me pivot from this focus to like, "No, no, no, this focus."
yeah.
And so I think this is something that we, like I said, often don't realize is how much influence we can have on each other's lives,
Yeah.
by just being present and being authentic and dare I say, giving a shit, right? It's like
Oh man,
just
yes.
being there. Yeah. And so I appreciate so much to be on the receiving end of what you also received from somebody else. And so
Yeah.
I think it's a different type of currency. It's like this yeah, it's a different type of currency to be able to share and exchange this with each other. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah. And I think that element of like you said, giving a shit, like it's rare. And
Mhm.
this is the beauty of what like how I want to work with my clients and how I do work with them. It's not a contract. It's not a I have to have the stake. I have to have a stake in what they're doing or feel that I have a stake
Mhm.
because otherwise it's just so contractual and
Yeah.
it's not how I want to live. Yeah.
So is that part of what helped you to identify your kind of target market?
Um, I don't know if it's a market as much as I mean, it tends to be consultants, coaches, and service providers. But I think it's more I I'm attracted to the energy and to the
Hmm.
values more than anything else.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know how good that serves me in the marketing sense, but
Yeah, but you
And
also have impact. It's impact driven,
yes, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Impact
and
driven. Yeah.
yeah, and most of my clients come through referrals anyway, so um I can be value based because it's the people who share the values who are recommending me to someone
Sure.
else.
Sure. That resonates with me because that's been largely my entire career.
Yeah,
So I get that. I get that. Um, so now for folks who are listening and maybe have been thinking about should they have a podcast or should they not, and if they do, what should it be about, and all the things, questions that people focus on tend to be, is it going to be a solo, or am I going to have interviews, or how long is it going to be? Am I going to do video or not? And all of those questions. But really, what advice do you have for people? Where should they start? What question to answer or what to ask themselves or where to go, what to do, any and all of the above?
yeah. Um, One of my pet peeves is this thing that goes around on social media that says all you need for a podcast is a mic and an internet connection. And that is correct technically for
Mhm.
the technical production of a podcast. But what you need first is your why. What you need first is that thing that lights you up that you want to share with the world. The podcast is a vessel for you to communicate that. So there's podcasts, there's other mediums, of course, there's the blogs or whatever. But if you are a listener and you are a podcast consumer, it's safe to assume that your audience is also. And but it's that thing that like you had, when you talked about One Handshake that lit you up from within, you have to have that core why because the other pieces will come. The other pieces will line up. But if you don't you don't have clarity on your message, if you don't have clarity of what the goal is for the podcast, then everything else is going to fall apart, even if you have the technical side set up. Because
Mm.
the podcast, it's a long-term game and it takes it takes time for the ROI to build up. So if you're coming from a place of a quick result, you're going to be sadly disappointed. So it has to come from heart, where there is something that you're wanting to give to your audience, something that
Mhm.
you are sharing. So it has to come from generosity, because you're going to be very disappointed otherwise. So for
Mm,
me, it's like just hone in on your messaging and your why, and the rest will come. Once you have clarity on that, you'll figure out how long the episodes need to be, whether it's solo and interviews, or what the mix is. But once you have clarity on that why, everything else will follow.
hmm. That's excellent advice. So therefore,
Yes.
you've helped others to shine,
Oh,
and you've been a part of or helped produce hundreds of podcasts.
correct.
And word on the street is there's this little idea that it might be time for you to launch your own podcast.
Mhm.
So let's talk a little bit about that, shall we?
Yeah, it's been on my radar for a while, because primarily it would be that content funnel, as I build my business. Um, but I am taking my own advice, and I'm honing in on the why, and
Mm,
what my
mm,
messaging in is, sorry. Because that is so important, because with that clarity, you lose momentum after a
mm,
while. And
mm,
so I'm taking my time and making sure that I'm clear on why I'm
mm,
doing this, because
mm.
I don't wanna fall into the narrative that a podcast manager has to have a podcast so that they can showcase their expertise. That is not the reason to do it, because
Right,
it's not
right,
the reason that would work for me anyway. Uh,
right.
so I'm getting clarity, and maybe this is the push I need, to work on that. But yeah, that is the
Yeah,
reason I haven't yet.
yeah. I would love to, yeah, talk further about this because I think on the one hand, it makes a lot of sense, and so yeah,
Mm,
it's very smart to spend the time to get clear on the why, right? Our good friend Simon Sinek, right? It's, what is your purpose? What is your why? To really hone in on that. And yet, I also think that can become like the black hole, or at least for
yeah.
me, the black hole of overthinking and just procrastination. It's like,
It's very
uh,
possibly what I'm doing.
yeah, no, so this idea of constructive procrastination
Right, yeah.
is like how I think and I notice of myself sometimes where it's like, "Oh, it's constructive," like it's, or like strategic procrastination. Yeah,
Yeah.
this can also happen. So I think on the one hand, certainly I don't want to push you to talk about something that
Mm.
you're not there yet with. I don't want you to be uncomfortable. Or maybe it's
It's
just
not that.
a
But
little
sometimes
bit,
I
just a
feel
little bit.
yeah, but no, I appreciate that. I think, I want to do with the podcast in a hybrid with something else. Um, but then with the podcast, then the information is so readily available. I don't know if people need to hear more about podcasting from me. So I'm still figuring it out.
So I think that I could say the same thing. Why would people want to hear about relationships or
Oh,
why
yeah.
why or why it's important, right? Why? Because I could say a
But let's
million
be
things
real,
like,
no one is saying it the way that you are.
and nobody will talk about podcasting the way you are.
Okay.
Mhm, I'm serious.
Not putting me on the spot or anything.
No, 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 I'm not. No, this is a
Yes,
hypothetical
but you're
conversation.
absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So I would love to be able to do whatever I can to support you on this path. And if it is kind of pushing you to
Yeah.
jump sometimes beyond or before you feel like you're ready, then so be it. Because I do think that your this like we talked about in your intro, it's like your perspective is uniquely you. And a lot of people will resonate more so with you than other voices that are out there. And I venture to say that your podcast won't be solely nice and tidily about podcasting
Yeah.
only. I
Yeah.
think it'll be so much about your perception, your personality, your values, your experience, and that is why I think it's. I don't want to say it can't come fast enough, but I'm gonna say it's probably time to maybe shift gears. You might be ready for the next phase. So
You might be.
I would love to help support you on that process in whatever way I can personally, or certainly within the One Handshake community, because I think your voice is one that can really help and will resonate with a lot of people. So
I wanna do a drum roll, but that will cause an echo, which we don't want, right?
drum roll. So I could say, so when should we check back with you to see about your podcast? I could do that.
You could, yes, and let's do it. I don't know.
Kidding.
Yeah.
So as we said, we're recording this podcast almost on our 1 year anniversary from when we met. So it seems suitable then for us to then finish the podcast with another date.
Goodness
So what do you
gracious.
think? What do you think? So what are we looking for? The date for what? For the concept or for the trailer?
I would
Or
say
what are we looking for? A
trailer.
trailer. All right.
I would
So let's start with what feels comfortable. What's a date that feels comfortable?
after the summer holidays, because I have a wonderful summer planned, and I'm
Okay.
not gonna interrupt that.
Okay. It's more time to think and reflect.
I would say
Okay.
after the summer. Yeah,
All right. So after the summer comes the month of September.
yes. So, in the month of September, we will have the trailer.
Okay. So by September 30.
Bef before mid-September, once we're back
On
from the summer holidays. Alright, let me check my ca
on we'll say on or before September 30.
the 15th, whatever the date is around the 15th of
Okay. But do you feel like that's accurate or what's the word I want to say? Feasible? Because when you get back, then you'll have to kind of re-entry and then also be able to work on what it's going to be and do the preparations for it. Do you think 2 weeks will be enough, or do you think you'll need the whole month of September?
Oh, you're being very generous. Alright, let's
No,
give me the whole
serious.
let's give me the whole month of September, and alright, I will aim to have it. I will have it.
Okay. On or before September 30.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. And so when that happens, we will come back into the show notes. We'll re-edit the show notes and add the link to your new podcast.
We will. Yes.
We will do that. Okay,
Yes, that's
amazing.
going.
So, woo, I'm sweating. I'm excited. How do you feel? See?
I feel very comfortable.
Good,
I feel excited, but,
good,
yeah,
good, good.
not petrified as I imagined I would.
Well, there we go. So you asked me, what are we going to talk about in the podcast? I was like, I am not telling you. But
We are putting you in the hot seat.
yeah, there we go. This is how we do. Um, All right. So before we start to wrap up, I wanted to just give you a space to share anything. If you want to add anything else that we didn't yet get to, this is your opportunity.
I would say to anyone who resonates with, what Jillian is doing and you wanna have a podcast, I would love to support you. I would love to talk to you, and help you, put your message out into the world. I'm happy to support you with that, automatically, meaning that you have to hire me or anything like that. I'm happy to help anyone who has a message that the world needs to hear, and yeah, that's
Okay. Amazing. And so, where would be the best place for people to learn more about you and what you do and how you work with them, etc.?
I'm at Zoot Solutions, and I'm primarily active on LinkedIn. My email is everywhere. Everyone can reach out to me on LinkedIn or send me an email.
Super. Well, Ineka, I really, really love so much being able to, first of all, have this conversation with you, and then also to be able to do it as our podcast, and also to be able to now have a date on the calendar for you. I'm super excited to
So am I.
now be able to be on this side and watch you through your kind of evolution from idea to trailer and beyond. So I'm super excited about that, and for the One Handshake community to rally alongside and behind you,
I'm
which we're
excited.
doing. Yeah, amazing.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So if this appeals to you, then perhaps it's time for you to come check us out at onehandshake.co. Otherwise, maybe subscribe to the podcast, leave a review. would be really excellent. But
5
nonetheless,
stars are appreciated.
yeah, 5 star from the podcast manager herself. But in all seriousness, thank you for spending the time with us today. Time is the most precious asset that we have, right? And so we really appreciate you spending your time with us today. And we hope you'll come back for our next episode. Cheers.
Thank you.